No one likes being told what to do, and it seems video games have forgotten that. You get the hot new video game, you can't wait to play it, only to be greeted by the most boring, intrusive tutorial. I thought you said you were going to be fun. That's like when you start playing an instrument. You don't want to just sit there and play scales and rudiments all day. That's so boring. Just let me play. Now, I do understand that some things need to be taught to the player, but a good tutorial is one that gets out of the way. Just like the difficulty options, the decision of showing me how to play your game should always be given to the player. What I'm getting at is that the intro that's supposed to inform the player of how to play your game has been turned into something that resembles a computer virus. All these pop-up windows that are telling you up is up and down is down are bloating the experience. If you can't teach me how to play through the environment or the combat within the first level, then how am I supposed to have fun learning your game? Let's explain it like playing the drums. If you tell me I can only play rudiments on the practice pad, then yeah, that might help me get better faster, but that's boring. This example represents the games that hold your hand throughout the tutorial, because we have to make sure that you don't get lost on your way to finding the fun in our game. Sometimes I just want to hit the drums or play the game without being told what to do.
Hey, you can't just hit a drum, you have to beat the shit out of it.
But at the same time, don't just give me a piece of sheet music that I don't know how to read and say good luck. These are the games that just throw you in there without any idea of what you're supposed to be doing or how to do it. Learning a game without being told exactly what to do is my preferred method for a tutorial, but you have to give the player a safe environment for us to teach ourselves in. Okay, fine. I'll talk about Driver now. The game does give you the safe environment for you to teach yourself in, but it also times you while you're supposed to be doing it, which just adds to the stress of trying to figure out the challenge you're supposed to be completing. If you can't teach me how to play your game correctly, then I don't need help figuring out how to uninstall it. Don't worry, I know how to do that. Basically, show us how to play by having the player interact with the basic functions of your game in order for us to teach ourselves. Don't just bombard us with text on screen telling us that if you push left, you go left. Tutorials didn't used to be this way though. There was once a better time where a game would just let you play without interruption and use the enemies and the level design to educate the player. That's right, I'm talking about Super Mario Brothers. Now I know what you're thinking. How original, someone talking about World 1-1 again. And I knew that going into this video, so I had my family play it. They don't play video games at all, so I wanted to see if they could beat World 1-1 at Christmas. I made it as easy as possible for them. I busted out the NES Classic so there wasn't any extra buttons to confuse them with, and then I sat back and watched. First up was my brother, and predictably, come on, man. From watching my brother play, I learned just how well thought out this first level was. This second pipe is just a little bit higher than the normal jump can get over, so you have to actually hold the A button in order to clear it. Mario, just hold A! Mario! The game never tells you this, but it gives you a safe space in order for you to figure it out yourself, and you have plenty of time to get over it. My brother was actually able to clear this level, and when I asked him what he thought of it, he said, yeah, I could see a couple of friends sitting around playing this, if we were all high. At least he likes Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Next up was my dad, and predictably, oh shit, he actually did it. He wasn't able to beat the level, but on his third attempt, he actually stumbled onto something that I had never seen before. If you die halfway through the level, it actually respawns you at this point. I had never died playing World 1-1 before, so this inclusion to help ease frustration by not sending you back to the beginning was something I had no idea about. Too bad it didn't help him that much. My mom was the only one to actually get a power-up, and she also got the Fire Flower, but didn't have that much time to use it. This is as far as she got, and watching my family play Mario for the first time ever showed me just how much time and effort they put into each section of World 1-1. Also, it was just funny watching my family fail at Mario. But you know what's even funnier than that? Is how Mario breaks up with Peach. He says, "It's not you, Peach.
It's me, Mario."
Nintendo not only perfected the art of showing not telling in the tutorials of their 2D games, but they also brought that into the future with their 3D ones. Super Mario 64. It just lets you run around the courtyard doing sick flips. It tells you where you need to go, but it gives you the option of when you want to start that journey. But not right now, Mom. I'm training for the Olympics. This courtyard eases you into that scary thing called 3D. By letting you know that water is no longer Mario's friend.
Mamma mia!
Super Metroid immediately sets the mood of the game by being a dark and lonely place. But if you search hard enough, you'll be able to find a little buddy. And your arch nemesis! This opening fight is unwinnable, but it doesn't give you a death screen when you fail. It subverts expectations by making sure the player doesn't feel like they messed up. It also doesn't give you a second to think, because the whole building's about to blow! Pork chop sandwiches!
Oh shit! Get the fuck out of here!
Ocarina of Time does the same non-verbal tutorial as Mario 64, but this time you get to run around a village and break some pottery. The game silently guides the player into searching for your sword and obtaining enough rupees in order to buy a shield. Even if the only objective is to get this little punk to step aside, that's all the motivation I need. Yeah, who's the wimp now? Nintendo may be the kings of the non-invasive tutorial, but that comes with the caveat of having to listen to this little golden snitch talk your ear off.
Listen!
Being a more story-focused adventure, Ocarina needed something to help the player progress through the story in case they got stuck. Navi herself isn't that annoying, it's just the frequency in which she pops up is. Oh, don't worry, Fee. I haven't forgotten about you. So now that we've taken a look at some good tutorials, what makes a bad one? Luckily for me, I don't have to show you multiple games that tell you everything that's wrong with modern day tutorials, because Rage 2 exists. This game just assumes that no one had ever played the first game before, and they were right with that assumption. In Rage 2, once you get the shotgun, it just sends you straight to tutorial hell and treats you like a child. I'm not a baby. Shit. These tutorials are the antithesis of fun by making sure to tell you in a slow and calm way exactly how to fire a shotgun. First, the intercom system tells you exactly what the shotgun does. Then it freezes the game to let you know that right trigger is fire. Man, who could have guessed that? Never halt the gameplay with a text box unless it's absolutely necessary, especially one that tells you the same thing 2 seconds later when you go to fire the shotgun. By the time you're actually done with the training, you'll be wishing for the same fate as these test dummies. These modern day tutorials actively sabotage the fun by halting your movement any chance it can. It seems like they're training us for brain surgery, when all I want to do is just shoot a demon in the face. Luckily, we have a modern game we can actually look to in Doom 2016. Doom just gives you a gun and says, figure it out. And it does so in the most non-invasive way. After you get the armor, the game funnels you down a narrow hallway with a singular demon in the middle to show you how the new glory kills work. A text box does pop up, but it doesn't halt gameplay, and I could just skip it by pressing the button prompt it was trying to tell me. This is exactly how it should be if you decide to go the way of the text pop-ups. Don't make them invasive or mandatory, and they work out just fine. Or better yet, show us how your new systems work through the gameplay. Like how gore nests are a main objective in this game, but they show you that by placing one in the first room where you also get to test out your brand new shotgun. Or when you gain control right after the logo screen and it guides you right off a cliff to show you that, yeah, you're still a badass that doesn't take fall damage. Id fully understands that when you try to add some story elements, the Doomslayer isn't having it, so he smashes the elevator and we get a cut to the logo screen. We came here to rip and tear, not to be read a bedtime story. Doom 2016 knew exactly how to implement their tutorials, but I have a feeling that Bethesda is getting a little too handsy with id Software. You know those combat rooms that appear in Rage 2? Well, they're also in Doom Eternal. They're not as bad as Rage 2's because they don't teleport you every 5 minutes. Actually, shit, it teleports you to one in the first 5 minutes to show me how to use the chainsaw? Yes, The chainsaw has a different functionality this time, but instead of teleporting me to a padded room that would be found in an asylum, why can't you just show me like in Doom 2016? Like put a single enemy in front of me and have me use the chainsaw on him to show me that he explodes like a piñata. I'm not a game designer. I'm just an idiot yelling about video games on YouTube, but there has to be a better way to communicate to the player how to play your game. The number of pop-ups that halt progression are countless in this first level, and it's infuriating to play through. But I haven't even gotten to the worst part yet. I was blasting my way through all these different enemies, and then I finally got to the arena where I fight the first boss. Let me set the scene. There's an amazing cutscene where you get to see the hulking size of this Doom Hunter that was specifically created to destroy you. We see it get placed on a piece of machinery that allows it to hover, hinting to the player that you probably should aim for that, but you can't hit it just yet. It's got a blue outline, which shows you that it has a protective shield. You've blown up countless shields with the plasma rifle up to this point, so you know that should be the first weapon you use. You have your game plan in your head, so bring it on, you big blue bastard. Wait, what the hell is this? It tells you how to beat the boss the second the fight starts. Are you fucking kidding me? Last time I checked, I'm not a baby. Damn it, not again. You can turn off these hints in the menu, but it never tells you that, and I only went looking for it once they became too intrusive. You halted progression, took away control from the player, told me how to beat the first boss without giving me an option if I wanted that hint, and you treat the player like a mindless zombie from the first level. Doom Eternal, how could you become the worst of them when your previous games set the example of how modern tutorials should be?
You were the chosen one!
Don't tell me how to do something I've already been doing this whole game! Not now, Fee! Fine, you want to do this now? Let's rumble. Your game is rated everyone 10 and up, but you assume the player has an IQ of under 10. You are not all bad, Skyward Sword. You have some of the best dungeons and areas in any Zelda game, and you actually took the time to develop a story instead of trying to duct tape one together over the course of 3 games. But you treat the player like a fucking child. Master, this large door is sealed shut. Huh, I couldn't have guessed that with the giant puzzle lock and the vines covering it. Master, look up. Oh man, it's not like there's a giant glowing light above me indicating the player to look up. Master, I sense an evil presence on the other side of this door. Wow, I couldn't have guessed that. With the music rising, the giant tentacles destroying the ship, and the game funneling me down one single path towards the boss. V, there's a 90% chance that I'm one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. Skyward Sword, I love you. I truly do. But playing you sometimes feels more like a chore than a fun experience. You are the example of how to frustrate the player and have become the laughingstock of the Zelda franchise. So just know that I say these next words with the utmost respect for the gambles that you took that didn't pay off. Skyward Sword, you are now banished to the Silent Realm. Is there any game that can save us from the hell we found ourselves in? Huh? Hey look, Breath of the Wild. This game is the example every developer should look at going forward. Breath of the Wild was a brand new type of Zelda game that drastically changed the formula, so it did have some few text pop-ups that explain some of those new mechanics. These can be easily overlooked because the game doesn't rely on these interruptions and sets the player up to learn on their own once you get to the first shrine. Honestly, they kinda had to clearly explain this control scheme because Nintendo still hasn't figured out that humans don't have 3 hands. This entire Great Plateau is one giant invisible tutorial, letting you learn and discover on your own, and that is demonstrated perfectly in the first shrine. You get the Magnesis rune in here, and when you get to the end of the shrine, you see this chest that you can't get to. I wonder if... No way! You can pick up chests with Magnesis? So when you go outside to chuck this piece of metal in the air, you see something underwater. It shows you Magnesis works in water and rewards you for figuring that out on your own, without telling you anything. On the way to the bomb shrine, you get introduced to the Bringers of Death, known as the Guardians. Each of these 4 shrines teaches you about the different mechanics in this game, but you have to be willing to explore and discover them on your own. Like on my way to the Stasis Shrine, I was climbing up the side of the mountain, and I learned that the ledges they give you are smaller than I thought. There's also one part of this plateau that's completely frozen. You can't make it to the shrine without a way of staying warm, but Nintendo doesn't tell you that or how to stay warm. It's your job to figure it out, and they give you plenty of hints to help you overcome this trial. Once I realized I was losing health being out in the cold, I turned around and ran back to where I came from, and I noticed a spicy pepper bush was waiting there for me. Huh, this is probably helpful to me. Since I explored and found the old man's journal, I knew that cooking spicy peppers and raw meat together would create a recipe that would keep me warm. That's how I was able to make it to the shrine, but there's more than one way to do it. There's firewood all down this path, so if you keep a lit torch with you, you can stay warm the whole way. Or sometimes when you talk to the old man, he'll give you winter clothes that'll help you stay warm. There is no wrong way to get to the shrine, and that's why this area is something for other developers to study. It seems that the easiest and most helpful route to teach everyone how to play your game is by having obtuse pop-up windows and invasive combat arenas. This is not the method I want to see going forward, because when you let the player teach themselves by having rewarding mechanics and clearly marking your hints, you make the experience of playing your game feel completely unique to the individual. Breath of the Wild is the benchmark for how to implement your tutorial, and I hope we see a trend of non-invasive ones in the future, because the tutorials that just let you have fun are the ones we enjoy the most. Hey, thank you so much for making it to the end. I'm trying something new going forward with uploading some YouTube shorts in hopes of getting some new subscribers. It's not going to affect or annoy you in any way, because I can uncheck a box when uploading videos so they won't send you a notification or publish to your subscription box. If you've already watched the end of this video, then you aren't going to miss out on anything, because I'm just going to be using clips from this video. I want to see if it'll actually work or not, but I want to give you all a heads up. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.